All right. Welcome, everyone. Episode 10 here of Outlier Firefighters, Talkin Shop, my little podcast here. We're switching things up today, and I, as you can see, have, somebody with me in my basement, and that's my wife, Emily, my wonderful wife. And we're going to talk some fire life dynamics and kind of what it's like being married and you know, being firefighters and going through those things. So we'll get into the swing of things. Please. Oh no, echo already. Oh boy. Well, you guys are gonna have to live with it because we've been trying to figure out the audio the entire time, and I can't get it to work. So I think we're gonna live with a little bit of the echo. It could just be. It's not just you. Yep. Is it unbearable? That's really aggravating. Maybe I'll just talk quieter. Just put this thing in front of my mouth. All right. Let's just roll into it.
Okay.
So, again, I'm here with my wife, Emily, and we're going to talk through what our family life is as, a fire family. So, Emily, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone and tell them a little bit, about where you come from and some of your background.
Well, my name's Emily Tanner, and I've been married to you for 5 years, together for 7. A little about me. I've moved around quite a bit. Lived in Tennessee, New Orleans, Indianapolis, here. We moved around a lot because of my dad's job. He worked in the hotel business, so I've moved around a lot. I've been here since 2005 when we were relocated after Hurricane Katrina. So I've been here for almost 18 years now.
I mean, you would know, not me.
I don't know, math.
We're going to talk a little bit about some of, as you probably just heard, her family lived through Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, so there's some interesting things to talk about with that in terms of trauma and dealing with that, and how she's able to kind of understand some of my job and the traumas that we deal with, and learning how to kind of navigate through some of those things because she's been through some of her own. But we'll get into that later. What?
I'm waiting for questions. I'm so nervous.
Yeah, everyone. So hey, look, you're getting tons of love. All right, and it's gonna be fun. We're just gonna start talking, and it's just gonna flow. So, if anyone has any questions in terms of, what it's like, family stuff, and Emily is a stay-at-home mom now. We made that decision this year. She quit her job, which you had for how long?
I worked for 8.5 years at Uline. I started in customer service, and then when I left, I was a direct marketing analyst. So if you received an email or a postcard or pamphlet within the last 6 years, it was me.
It's her fault.
I'm not the catalog though, so do not put that on me. But emails, yes.
But we decided. So we have 2 kids together. Our oldest is 2.5, ish, and then our youngest right now, he's 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
So we made a decision after our second son was born that Emily was going to stay at home, raise the kids, and not work anymore. Well, I shouldn't say raise the kids. It's not like I'm not doing anything, but she was going to quit, and we were going to drop down to single income, and we were going to take that plunge. So I know that I was fortunate enough to grow up in that same kind of environment, and you, for a number of years, had the same,
Yep.
right? A parent that was regularly home. We felt like that was important, and decided to make some sacrifices and commit to that.
Yes.
How do you feel about that now?
At first I was very nervous to be stay-at-home full-time. I mean, I put a lot of work in my career. I went to school for 4 years and everything, so to to leave was hard, and I liked who I worked with, but overall, I'm way happier at home.
That's and I can tell, just obvious because I'm with you. It's obvious that you are happier, that you're enjoying things, that you're having a great time living your life, which is what everybody should shoot for. Find something that you're happy with.
We have 2 great kids that I love to be around, and I'm glad that I get to spend that quality time with them.
Who are both asleep and are.
Thank God.
We'll see what happens if we've got to, split one of us out. I'll dance, or Emily can. Well, I don't want to leave you by yourself. I don't think you want to do that.
I don't think I could handle it.
But we'll figure that out.
This would be the night that they decide to wake up at 8:30.
I know, right? We'll see what happens. Trevor here in our chat, he said his family made the same move, and it's been awesome. Again, my family did it, and I know a lot of other fire families do that. And
well, the schedule is so hard for people to understand. Like, I don't know how many times I had to explain it at work. Like, no, my husband's not working today, or my mother-in-law or my mom is watching Jack today because he's at work for 48. They didn't understand that, like, you were not home for a full 24 hours.
Yeah.
They could not wrap their heads around it.
Did you find it difficult to, so obviously there were people that probably were never going to get it, but did your group of friends start to kind of understand that when you were at work?
Yes, my core group of friends did, but it was my direct managers understood, but it was the higher ups who I spoke with, VPs of my department, other managers, or those outlier people.
Hey, whoa. Don't be stealing that's trademark Ricky Bobby Industries.
Have you submitted your trademark?
No, I haven't. Please, nobody steal this. All right, it took a while. I had some poor names before I got to outliers, but either way. I do have our first audience question here, so it's coming from your father-in-law.
Oh,
and,
okay.
He said, did you have any idea when you found out that I was a firefighter what it meant to your lifestyle as a firefighter's wife?
So when we first started dating, I had absolutely no idea what I did not have any firemen in my family. I think like a great-great-great-grandfather or something. But no one directly in my life was a fireman or had this type of lifestyle. So I had no clue when I started even dating you what it meant. So I think for the first couple months I would text you or try and call you and you wouldn't answer. And I was so confused at why you couldn't sometimes and then you could some. It was an adjustment. But
yeah, unless you're around it, there's...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you have to experience. So one of the parts that wanted to kind of mention, so Emily and her family, they were in the hospitality industry for ever. Her mom's a chef. Her dad worked in the hotel industry, and so she was kind of used to holidays and weird hours and stuff like that. So
I don't think my dad was home for New Year's Eve ever. As a kid, I do not remember him being home. And then I do remember my mom sometimes working too. We had babysitters, and that was just the way of life.
Yeah. So, do you think that kind of set you up, almost in a way, for success for my schedule and now our life?
In some ways, yes. I think my parents were always home for Christmas and Thanksgiving. So those core holidays, yes, are a little bit more difficult for me when you're not home. But again, it's just a day. We can always celebrate Christmas the day before, day after, that kind of thing. And now that we have kids, it's maybe a little bit more different for me. When it was just me and you, whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's interesting. Sorry, our dogs are down as well.
You can lay down, Luke. It's okay. Icebreaker question here.
Okay.
Vandenberg wants to know what your take is on guys wearing jorts outside of cutting the grass.
Are they cargo shorts? Because I do not like cargo shorts whatsoever.
There's a delay, so Jay will have to get back. There's tons of stories, and we could get off on 10 million tangents. All right, it's not just about everybody. This isn't a marriage podcast necessarily, but I mean, we're married, so there's plenty to talk about.
We had an argument, literally, it was, we were going to go see your family for pizza, and you were wearing cargo shorts that I hate, and you know that I hate them, and a sweatshirt, and I just told you, I was like, no, you cannot wear that out. It does not look good.
I'm not a stylish man, but apparently there's rules that I have to follow, and whatever. Hey, what's the phrase? Happy wife, happy life. So I guess I've figured out what. There's a whole other thing with it, but yeah, they're just saying you got to support the New Balances. I do got myself a pair of dad shoes that I mow the lawn in every week.
Yes.
On purpose, because it's a badge of honor, right? I do have a question here, and this is great. Thank you guys for sending in questions because it makes this so much more fun, right? So Max is saying, his wife Ashley has a question. How was the transition when your oldest was born in regards to the fire schedule? So when Jack was born and now you were working and all of that.
So for the first month you were home with us. So that was nice. He took trades. He had sick time, which was great. And then you went to work. And I remember one day where I was a new mom. I didn't know what was happening. Jack was just crying and would not stop. And I could not figure it out. And I think I called you crying because I was just like so frustrated. And you came home for like all of an hour. And I knew that was like probably a lot for your department to do. But it was difficult for me to wrap my head around, but I will say that like you get used to it. Now I have 2 kids. I thought that was going to be super hard, but it really is. You just get into a rhythm, you get into a groove, and you learn, Yeah. I will say when your kid is crying, you just diaper, feeding, nap. Like it's one of the 3.
Yeah, and I mean definitely with our second.
He's a great baby. He's already sleep trained. He sleeps through the night, and he just smiles all day long. He smiles. I'm very lucky to have two really good babies, and Jack is a great toddler. So
yeah, I mean it makes it
easy.
A little more easy, right?
Yes.
So we'll getting back into some of the intro questions here. So your first I stumbled over my own words there. What was your first interaction with firefighters, right? So not necessarily like, the touch a truck event at school, like what was your first of like time really seeing firefighters doing their thing?
So I remember when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, my mom was making turkeys for a school event. It was like 4 or 5 turkeys, and we were in Indianapolis at the time, and I think around the 3rd or 4th turkey, her self-cleaning oven turned on, which caught fire, and the back wall behind the oven caught fire, and the whole house filled with smoke and ash. And I just remember us leaving the house, firemen going into the house, and I was outside. My neighbors were right next door, so we were, I think, in their driveway, just kind of watching what they were doing. Our house was fine, just filled with ash and smoke, so we had a cleaning crew come in, but got a new oven.
So they put it out, they saved the house, they did all that.
Yes, they saved
stuff.
the house. I don't think anything was lost other than the oven. I think. I don't remember completely. But most recently, probably when I was in college, which was like almost 10 years ago now, I had a ring on my hand, and my hand grew, my ring didn't. And it was like 8 o'clock at night. I went over to the Grays Lake Fire Department and asked them to cut my ring off, and they were really nice. I probably interrupted their dinner, so I apologize. I didn't realize the significance of dinner time.
We'll get
but they were so nice. They tried to do the string trick and it didn't work, so they cut it off for me.
This is going to be a series of tangents because I have notes and we have a little bit of what we're going to talk about, but it's too much fun to not pick at stuff. So I will say, as a firefighter with a new firefighter wife or girlfriend at the time, you learning about me and eating has been hilarious, and your mom notices it too, and I can't shut it off. Like, I eat so fast because of work.
Your head is down. You do not talk.
Nothing.
You don't say you like it. You don't like I literally made you dinner tonight and you just started eating it and I'm like, "Do you like it?" Just kept eating. You're like, yeah, it's good. It's good."
It
and
was
just
delicious,
kept eating.
by the way. It
and
really
I'm like,
was.
Any type of like, slow down. It's fine. Like, let's enjoy a meal together. No.
I laugh because, and then the same thing too, like, I gotta eat at noon, and I gotta eat it, well, we've been eating earlier at home with the kids, but like, I'm like a noon and 6 guy, just because I'm so programmed from work, like, and that was one of the funniest adjustments, was like, we would go, like, I don't know, go out
on a date?
No, like to Target or something.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it would be like 11:30, and
I'm
starting to get pretty hungry.
It wouldn't even be like, "Hey, like, are we thinking about lunch?" It'd be like, "I need to eat now." And I'm like, "Oh my God. Please."
But firefighters.
I know. Mealtime is sacred now. I get
back
it.
Me up on this one. Like, you spend an hour cooking a meal, right? And like,
I know.
we get into it. Like, we really do. And then pull it out of the oven or whatever and tones. Like, there's very few worse feelings than that, other than maybe being in the shower and having tones drop. That's probably up there too. But
I just think that it's funny when we go out on like a date night and like we want to have a nice relaxing meal and talk, and literally the food sits down, you eat yours within like 5 minutes, and I'm not even like done with like 3 bites of mine, and you're like already eating stuff off of my plate.
I can't.
It's fine. I'm learning to live with it.
But it has cracked, and especially with your mom, which has been funny too, because like you said, I don't like say if I'm enjoying food, which like I am. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be eating it. But like, it's one of those things that like I've learned that I need to be more vocal about those kinds of things.
It's okay.
Or maybe take a breather once in a while.
Take a breath.
I got a question here from Jim Cook here, and he's saying, so most firefighters, we're going to jump because we were going to talk about this later, but I wanted to hit it. And he goes, most firefighters shrug off the danger. Mm-hmm. How do you, as a firefighter's wife, handle the danger of the job? That's a solid question.
It's going to sound really weird, but I can't think about it while you're not home. Like, when you're not home, I can't think about it. Even when you are, I can't. Because if I get into the mindset that you're at work, you could get hurt, like, and like our whole lives could change, and it just, I would spiral, and it would be really hard. It would be really hard to like keep my life going, like as it is right now, like constantly worrying about you. I know that you train, and I know that you work with good people, and that I trust the people you work with. This is how I put it in my brain. Okay. But I mean, there are times like on 9/11, you like to watch like fireman documentaries, and I can't. I break down. I think you wanted to show me the movie Backdraft, and the first 5 minutes when the dad died,
which was partially my fault. I didn't warn you, because everybody that's seen Backdraft knows, like, it starts off all cool and like all heroic, and then basically Kurt Russell explodes.
And I just lost it.
Emily started bawling, and I was like, oh crap. I need to do a better job of really making sure you're okay with some of those things. And
it's very hard for me to, like, I can't think about it because I don't want to lose you ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I can't.
I don't want to leave anyone behind.
So I can't think about it.
I don't want to, obviously I don't want to leave you guys either. So that's where, like, ever since, like, when we got married, like, yes, I hit a new level, and I had some new focus and some new direction, right? Like, I wasn't full-time. It took me 2 years of us being together for me to actually get, hired, traditionally and all that fun stuff. And, you taught me some organization stuff, taught me how to do math, which is hilarious because that was my Achilles heel for testing. But then, like, when we had kids, like, I don't know if you would agree with this, but I hit another level.
Yeah.
In terms of like I was always into training. I was always into like being good at my job because I wanted to come home. Obviously,
Yes.
I wanted to be there for when somebody needed me. Right, when somebody else's family needed me, I wanted to be lights out at my job.
Right.
But then when we had kids,
I think when we had Jack, you got more into like you being trained and you getting the training you needed, and then when we had Duncan, it was like 3 times what you were with Jack. I don't know what happened, but like now you're on the training committee, you have the podcast, you have you're doing all the FDIC, the personal training. It's like I feel like you're always doing something, which I love, and I'm glad that I can be home to support you and let you go off. And
yeah, I mean, but the motivation not only to be, great at my job, but it's to help alleviate your stress.
And then I trust you and your knowledge, and that you're doing everything you need to do to come home to me and the kids.
I might not be able to leave a toilet seat down around the house, but
or turn off the lights. But
turn off the lights.
That's right.
Which, again, I know my dad's in here, but he can. Yeah.
It's still an issue.
It's still an issue, Dad. So there's that. But let me scroll back up through some of these comments and everything here, because I did pin one. We had another question come through. One little bit of tidbit from my dad says. He would usually keep most bad calls to himself. He said, oh, sorry, it's a question. I didn't realize that. Alex, do you discuss any of the bad calls with Emily to try to debrief? We do. And we have a rule, basically, when she says, I'm good, I stop. And I find another outlet, another person to talk to if I need it.
I don't think I've ever hit that point with you, though. Maybe some of the details of the call, I'd be like, I really don't need to know that, especially some certain subjects, but and then sometimes you come home and you don't want to talk about it, but I know when Alex is quiet when he comes home that something is wrong. So either he's tired or he had a bad call. And I say, are you tired? And you say, no, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, it's a bad call. Do you want to talk about it? Nope. Okay. And then usually within a day or two, maybe even a week, you come and talk to me. But again, that's just how it works for us.
Yeah, I mean, and I think early in our relationship, I don't think you were able to just pick that out like you are now.
No.
And I mean, that's just for people who are getting into a relationship with a firefighter, that's not an overnight skill, right? As a spouse or a significant other or whatever.
It probably took me a good 3 or 4 years to figure that out about you. And I mean, I remember when we got engaged and I went to go have dinner with my bridesmaids. You had a moment.
I did.
You had a moment with our dog, which was.
So we it seems like every episode there's some element of mental health and being more forward about those things. And I did. I don't even know what triggered it. You left. We were in the apartment. You just left, and all of a sudden, like, I got hit with everything.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing, and we're segueing, my biggest thing in terms of mental health was I used to feel guilty that I didn't feel bad, that I was unaffected. And for some reason that night it just hit me, and I don't know why. And there was no trigger. There was nothing.
Yeah.
And but we're coming a long way, I think, as an industry where we're able to talk about those things a lot more.
Which is so important. Mental health is so important for everyone, but especially for firemen. You see horrible things. I mean, when I went through Katrina, I was actually in New Orleans when it happened, and we got out right as the flooding started, and my dad stayed, and I saw things, and I talked to people.
And like
then
I was saying in the beginning, like,
yeah.
I think that as horrible as that event is, to have lived through, it did bring you some strength and some fortitude, which now selfishly translates very well into you supporting me through the traumatic things. I hope you never have to go through another traumatic thing like that again.
I overplan and I over evaluate situations I think because of that, and I usually have every situation in my head is already planned out, like if this happens this is what we're doing, if this happens this is what we're doing. But I think that's just a coping mechanism for me, and
maybe
I'm the planner, and you're just
well, what's ironic though is, so I am the live in the moment. So you're the like 2-month out planner.
Yeah.
I'm the 15-minute out planner. So like, remember we went to that wedding, and I remember it was in Antioch where I used to work. And do you remember this wedding? And it was a church, and
Yes.
we were sitting, and I looked at you, and I go, "This place is a death trap if it's on fire. That's where we're going to get out of here."
Yeah.
And I think most firefighters
Do that.
Like, we're constantly trained to be situationally aware and look for an out. And so, like, that's what
And meanwhile, I have all of our documents saved in a folder in my email on the
And
drive.
But again, there's a yin and yang with it, because like you're the forward planner and I'm the in the moment. Like when we were at we took the boys to Kenosha Harbor Market, right? Like I'm constantly
watching
and sizing up what's going around us, right? And it might not seem like it, but I'm constantly doing that.
Yeah.
Where I don't care where we park, I don't care how we get there, I don't care what we eat there. That's not what I'm thinking about. And
we work well as a team.
We do, and it's funny. Like, so I would say, not that we have all the advice in the world. I mean, we've only been married for 5 years, but
oh God,
like, I think public safety couples, you got to find a yin and yang. You got to balance and complement each other. And even if you're both type A, and because we're both type A, and we make it work. But you have to kind of find that balance between those things.
I trust you, and you trust me in situations.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to catch up here real quick. Yeah, Leanhart, I know it's cooler on the couch, but I need my stuff. I guess I could just do my end on the couch, but, I mean, she's in the room with me. And we're in the same room that I normally do it from. Don't you see the nerd wagon behind here that's running all this stuff? Anyway. So your friend Jackie,
Hi, Jackie.
She threw a thing in here. I'll just read it off. So Mick, her husband, military family, right? Him being gone a lot, and she's the one that's at home, right? She always feels tired and burnt out. But on the flip side, Mick will tell her he would rather be home with them.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not be able to help in that situation, right? Where you miss when you're gone. We don't correspond a ton when I'm on shift.
I try not to bother you as much. Sometimes, like on Sunday, I know you're like, it's Sunday. So I'll text you a little bit more. Maybe I'll do a video call, or like it's a holiday weekend, like Monday.
We're making the video call before bed a regular thing.
We're trying to,
which I love, and that's enough, right? And that's, again, back to the trust thing. I know that I don't have to check in on Emily all day. She's doing a great job with the kids, and I can't be present at work thinking about what's going on at home.
Right. And
so I think there's a dynamic there where we just don't communicate that much.
And I also think that it's really important to have like a team. Like we are very lucky that our both of our parents live close, and grandparents.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, my mom is 20 minutes. My mom and dad are 20 minutes. Your parents are like an hour.
Yeah.
So if there was an issue, or like I'm having I've had really bad days, I've called my mom and she's come over, or she's like, just put the kids in the car and come over to our house. Like.
Yeah.
Or my dad, like, I remember when I was pregnant with Duncan, and it was at the end of the pregnancy, and I couldn't lift Jack anymore. My dad would come over while you were every day for the last 2 months of my pregnancy, come over and give Jack a bath.
Yeah. So Jackie's question here is from our perspective. What's the best piece of advice? My perspective. What piece of advice would you give firemen or first responders who are gone for an extended amount of time from their families? And just like I'll echo what I said earlier. You have to develop a household of that trust, and there has to be a balance between being present at work and missing home. It's not like when I'm at work, I think everybody would rather be with their family, right?
Yes.
But
I want you to focus, though, when you're at work.
Yes. Like on my end, like if I'm dwelling on family the entire time I'm at work, I could miss something or make a mistake, and I know that's probably sounds harsh. It makes it sound like I don't think about my family, but that's the reality is I don't all day, because I know that I have Emily at home.
It's kind of like when I was at work and I'm in a meeting, I'm not thinking about like what you and Jack are doing if I'm focused on what I'm doing. it's obviously not life or death if I'm selling boxes or not, but it's still like you have to focus where you're at and just trust that your partner has it handled at home.
Yeah, you have to be, Leanhart says here, right, be present at work, be present at home, right? So Jackie, to kind of follow up what you were asking about, that's the big thing. When you get home, and for firefighters it's hard, right, because you're running on high idle the whole day. Even if you're sleeping, you're running on high idle. It doesn't stop. You're constantly, like, at a moment you could do something. And so even if you don't really do a lot over the course of the day, mentally, your body is still in that mode to snap into work. And so sometimes it's hard when you come home to be present and be right at home because you're trying to decompress. One of the things that I've learned, and there's a book out there, Resiliency Training in the Fire Service, and Rick George is one of the guys that writes in it, and he's huge on mental health, and he's pretty awesome if you ever hear his story. He talks about mental rehearsals. He talks about some of those things, breathing, those, and I've picked up on those a lot. So, before, usually Emily will call me when I'm on my way home from work just to make sure that I'm on my way home and that I didn't get a call. But she gives me, a good amount of time now. You're really only calling me in the last 10 minutes of my assumed drive.
That or to ask you to get some Starbucks.
Or coffee, but whatever. But I use that time, and I've picked this up again from Rick George, is I use that time to mentally rehearse coming home, what I'm going to do. Emily would say that I would come home and I wouldn't necessarily ask how their day was and all these things, and I would just offload work and whatever stresses I had with work. And now, I'm trying to think about, okay, when I get home, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to talk about. This is what, I'm going to kiss both my kids on the head. I'm going to kiss my wife. I'm going to say, hi, how are you? And I think...
Then unload.
And, right. And thinking about those things ahead of time and going through that rehearsal directly kind of translates to you coming home and being present, and it's okay. You had your time to decompress. That drive home from work, when I didn't have that, when Antioch was, I could ride my bicycle to work. I never had that decompression time. Now I get a 35 to 45 minute drive home, and I get to decompress from work and then come home and be a father and a husband again. So, sorry, we're supposed to be about you, and I'm blabbing over here, but...
No, it's important to talk about the fireman perspective of it, too.
Yeah.
Like, family life is hard.
Do you feel, like, when I come home, have you noticed that stuff?
Yes.
That there's, like, a ramp-up period or something like that? And, yeah.
We always talk, like, did you have a good night? Do you need, did you get sleep? Like, to me, like, I think that's important, too, is, like, to say, like, do you need a nap? Do you need to go somewhere and do something and get something done? And then you do the same thing for me, because I get burned out.
Yeah.
So, like, you say, hey, how was your day? Like, do you need anything? Do you want to go do something? That kind of thing. And we're really lucky that our kids both go to sleep around 6:30, so we have all... pretty much until we go to bed at 9, because we're grandparents, to decompress and have that time together too, to just kind of just chill.
Yeah, absolutely. Chief Leidig, I saw your. I know there's an echo. I am.
Is it really bad?
Well, we're just gonna live with it. I'm kind of bound by what we have here at the house. I had to buy an extra webcam. Budget's low. We'll get there maybe someday, but Christopher Adams here is saying, my wife's first question after shift is always, how was your night? Which you do the same thing, right? Yeah. So,
it's important. Sleep is important for firemen. Like, I think you said there's a study where it's like you will get, an average of like... It was something about like REM. There's a lot of sleep
studies now, but yeah.
It was like something about like you never reach REM, and like you don't get that like deep sleep when you're on shift, because you're constantly like wired to like think, oh, I'm going on a call, or oh, so it's like you're not peacefully sleeping. So when you come home, if you've been up all night, please take a nap.
Yeah.
Get that sleep that you deserve.
Yeah, and It was easier when we didn't have kids, and
Of
you
course.
worked, because I would just come home and sleep for 6 hours. But
Yes, and now that I don't work, it's way. I feel like now that I don't work, you've come home fine.
I know. What is that? You don't work now, and all of a sudden, well, I'm not at Station 1 as much now, but
Right.
I mean, we do our fair share. Last night we were up a lot, but that's beside the point. I think we fixed the echo, so I just got to put this microphone right in front of my face. That way my sound doesn't travel to you.
It's okay. No one wants to see your face anyway.
Yeah, right? All right, let's roll into another one here then. So, what was your first experience as a family member of the fire service, right? So, like, you were dating me and you had that connection, so now you visited the fire station.
So
Or whatever.
we were 2 weeks into dating, and I went to your firehouse. You invited me over for dinner with your partner Carrie, and I love her. She's the reason why we are together.
She is.
To this day. I remember being nervous because, again, I'm a planner, and I'm like, I had no idea where I was going. I didn't know where I was parking. All I knew was, like, do not park in front of the bay doors.
Yeah.
And basically I was scared. It was intimidating. But I'd never been in a fire station before. Like I've been in like
Not even a tour?
I was in like the Bay Area for when they cut my ring off, but other than that, I hadn't been like in the back of a firehouse, so I didn't realize that there's a kitchen, there's the lazy boys, there's the bunk rooms. It was interesting. It was kind of like a little house.
I mean,
And yes, firehouse, I get
firehouse.
it. But yeah, we had dinner. It was a little weird because I kind of felt a little judged in that moment, but again, there's Carrie. It was 2 girls, 2 fire women, and a guy. I don't remember the guy. So I feel like they were kind of maybe trying to judge who I was and if I was like worthy of you in a way.
Do you think it was like a sisterly thing?
Maybe with
Right.
Carrie I do. With I don't know. Just I was the new girl in a lot of different schools, so it kind of felt like I was coming into a school and being judged by my peers, and it was, I don't know. I don't know if it was a girl thing or a fireman thing, but I just felt judged.
Fan versus 2 firewomen and a guy, world's worst sitcom. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, continuing, I mean, did you spend more time, I think, with the firefighters outside of the station doing social things, or?
With Antioch, I did. I
Okay.
feel like I got to really know your partners really well too, like Carrie, Josh, and Trevor. Like I consider them friends to this day.
Yeah.
I don't talk to them as much, obviously, but I feel I've always trusted them and you together. Like I knew that if something happened, like they'd have your back and you'd have theirs. With like Zurich, it's a little different because we live farther, and I think I've been to the firehouse all of 2 times, like while you were on shift, and then 2 other times when it was like a family thing.
Yeah, right. They had like
It was like a Santa and a Halloween thing, and it just feels different. Like I haven't really gotten to know any of the wives, or really, I mean, besides your one guy.
You're gonna say work husband or something, right?
Your boyfriend.
That's what it is.
Besides your boyfriend.
Don't worry, Booth's not on Facebook, so he won't see.
It's okay. Besides your boyfriend, I really haven't gotten to know many. I think I have maybe 3 firewives' phone numbers.
Yeah.
And I've never texted them. I don't know. It's different. I don't know who you're talking about when you come home sometimes.
Yeah, maybe the distance has something to do with it. I mean, and now
Yeah.
with our family dynamic, it's harder for you to just like fly in and
Right.
do stuff because of the kids, but
Right. So it's different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
do you feel like you're not really connected to the fire service?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well,
dive in deep later.
Well, we'll put a pin into that because I think that there's way more to talk about with that. But we'll go on the funnier side here. So
Okay.
3 words to describe firefighters. You let it rip. We all got, well, most of us have thick skin. We get made fun of all day, so if they're hilarious, that's fine. But if they're serious, you can throw us a bone.
I think that you guys are very brave. I will say that. You're the bravest people I know. You're very gossipy.
We are. We're worse than teenage girls.
Some of the phone calls that you get about drama, I love it because it's like I'm a huge Bravo fan, so like I like to be in the drama a little bit, not to be involved, but to hear about it. But yeah, you guys gossip a lot. What else? Brave, gossipy, and I don't know.
Brave, gossipy.
I think sometimes too, you guys can be a little like, I'll say determined.
Oh yeah. Do you know the phrase? When plan A doesn't work, we do plan A harder.
Right. Yeah.
That's. I mean.
Sometimes that can come off as like pig-headed too. Like,
well,
you will not get out of like, especially you. Sometimes you see something, you're like, I will not deviate from this plan, no matter what, and it's frustrating when it's like you literally just swerve off in the road and you'd be fine.
Oh, we lost your mic. What?
Mine?
Great.
Is it my mic or yours?
It's yours. Hold on. This thing does not want to cooperate very much, does it?
Am I back?
Is she back?
Am I back? Nope.
All right, we're in.
Okay.
We're in. Man.
Did they hear my pig-headed comment? Because that was really funny.
What, that we're pig-headed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if they did, but whatever.
Okay. Very determined.
Yeah. Well, we don't like to take no for an. I mean.
Right. You don't.
It's just kind of, you kind of have to have a little bit of.
You have to.
Screw that! I'm gonna go take care of the problem.
Yeah.
It's
a problem.
A problem that only firefighters can solve.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it goes, I guess. Sorry, we're adjusting for microphone stuff here.
Are we still echoing?
We probably are going to echo forever, and it is what it is. I'll live. It'll just sound like we're in a hallway somewhere, or underwater, or all right. What are the benefits of being married to a firefighter?
It's kind of a double-edged sword, but...
Well, the next question is what are the negatives, so
it's the schedule. Like, I love when you're home for 48 hours, and it's in the middle of the week, so and now that I'm home, we can go do things like go to the zoo and no one's there, or that kind of thing. I feel like we have a lot more quality time together too, just because of the way the schedule works.
Yeah.
But then again, you're gone for 24 hours, and sometimes those 24 hours are hard.
Yeah, I guess it
just depends on the
draw.
Depends on the date, and then when you get 48s, like sometimes I just want to cry.
Me too. Don't worry. What if I was 48.96?
I don't know about that one. I don't know. Maybe if I got used to it, yes, but I like your 24/48s for now.
I know. It's a thing that exists out there that people are trying to push for, but
I haven't given much thought to it. Also, I've been home for all of 5 months. So
yeah.
And before, when I was working with Jack, your mom or my mom would come and watch him. So your 48s didn't seem as, your 24s or whatever didn't seem as rough because it was on the weekends, one day a weekend. I don't know. I don't know.
The 4 days off sounds really nice.
Yeah, your schedule's hard. But, and again, yes, I do worry about you at work, but I can't think about it. So
Yeah.
it's your job. That's kind of a negative, is the danger aspect of it. But
Well, yeah, so what are the negatives then?
your danger. Fire.
Yeah.
I actually worry more about you getting hit by a car than I do about fire.
You know what? That's actually fair, because we got Route 12, and
Yeah.
those people are psychopaths
Yes.
on Route 12. I don't even know if I told you, I almost got hit secondary impact on a car accident like 4 years ago.
Yeah. No, you didn't.
Well,
Thank you that though, because like that's what I'm worried more when you go on traffic accidents than you do go on fires.
yeah, people are psychopaths.
Especially like on a weekend and people are drinking and they don't pay attention. They want to go 100 miles an hour. Like it scares me.
12 is a speedway, and yeah, I'm just glad we don't have like a highway like 94 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean 12 doesn't feel that much better. Chief Lighting says Stacy was happy she got the entire bed to herself.
Oh.
Which I was gonna say,
Especially when I was pregnant, if you were not in the bed, I was like, I'm gonna get a full night's sleep. I'm gonna be okay. For whatever reason, when you're in the bed, like it just, I like my space. Don't touch me. Let me
like
sleep.
a king size bed, and I get like a sliver of space for me. But it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's okay. I'm used to sleeping on a twin every third day of my life anyway, so. Cook had a funny thing here too. How many wives ask when we're going back to work after a long vacation? Like,
oh God, it's probably like if you have 2 shifts off, you need to go back to work like 2 days before you actually do. I feel like we fight more like the last day of a vacation than we do like any other time.
Because I think it's everyone. That has nothing to do with the fire service. Because you're miserable because you just had a blast on vacation,
and then you go home.
You've got to go back to reality.
Yes.
Nobody's happy on their last day of vacation. That's just the reality of that. So when I'm not home, what are your days pretty much like?
Well,
does the routine differ that much from when I'm home?
I actually feel like we're more on a schedule when you're not home because I can control what's going on. Like I can control that like you're not home. So I mean our kids are amazing. They sleep till about 6:37 every day. And I get them both up. We eat breakfast. Duncan goes down for a nap like 2 hours after he wakes up. So then Jack and I try to go outside if it's a nice day. But it's really just like Duncan sleeps every 2 hours for an hour or two. And then Jack and I try to do something during those naps. And then when Duncan's awake, we play inside. Or I try to take Duncan outside as much as possible. But it's harder to juggle both of them.
It seems like you have them on a better schedule than I did when I was just at home with Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, Jack and I had a rhythm. We definitely did.
We have a rhythm right now, and I'm sure it'll change when Duncan's sleep schedule will change when he gets his next shots. That's just how it happens.
Yeah.
But we just basically hang out and have fun. I plan all of my like shopping trips while you're home. So like groceries, I went grocery shopping today because you were home. Or thank God for like Shipt and like those like meal delivery services or whatever. So like I can order on Target and have them deliver like diapers if I'm like didn't realize we were out. But because I'm not used to leaving the house with 2 kids yet.
Do you think that'll change maybe as Duncan gets older and he's more manageable?
Yes. Now that Duncan can sit up, like I feel like I started going over to my mom's because she's close. And when I get there, I have someone to help me. I did take the kids on their first like outdoor excursion probably like 2 months ago.
That wasn't even 2 months ago.
Was it?
Yeah, you took them to the park, right? I remember seeing you. I was on shift.
Yeah, I went to the Forest Preserve. We went on.
Say, yeah.
It was like the first beautiful day that we had in a while. I took them to the Forest Preserve. We went a walk. It went well.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of my first like, okay, I can do this moment. But it, again, as Duncan gets a little older and he can sit, and maybe he can sit up in a cart, I can get them out of the house a little bit easier. But also, like, we have everything we need here. We have a park that's right down the street. So my home life when you're not home is probably different than others. But
yeah,
I think whatever works for the parent.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that there's like a standard way of
Right.
doing anything.
Like I haven't had a need to get both kids out of the house at the same, like, during the day.
You won't offend me if the answer is yes. Do you feel like it's calmer when I'm not home?
Yes.
Huh.
Because when you come home, it's almost like Jack gets super excited and he's off the walls, especially the first day. The second day is a little more calmer. And when I'm by myself, he's just Jack. There are some moments when he goes nuts because something's going on, or we went over to my parents' pool and he kind of went a little crazy when we were leaving. He didn't want to leave. That kind of. He's just a toddler.
He's got big feelings. He's a toddler.
Big feelings.
You know, it is what it is, right? So we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but like, you know, dealing with the danger. Did you have any other thoughts on that, about my job being dangerous, but me being gone and all of that?
I mean, I think one of my faults as like just a human being is when something is scary to me or like it stresses me out, I try not to think about it. Like I try not to harbor on things that like I can't control.
Yeah.
Because if I do, then I spiral into like a million and one questions, and then I'm not present in what I'm doing at the time. There have been times when especially when we first started dating or when we were first married, and I'm by myself, like I would have these like dark thoughts of like like where are you, what's going on, like what's happening. But now that I have like the kids, like I try to focus on them and make sure that they're okay, and it kind of distracts me from like what's going on with you in a way.
Do you have, this is a dark question.
Okay.
Do you have any pre-plan in your head if something were to happen to me on shift?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have something already that you would be prepared to do?
Yeah.
You don't have to necessarily share it if you don't want. But
I mean, like, if you were no longer here, which I hate to think about, but I would have to sell the house, get a job, probably move into like a smaller condo, and
I do think
it would be a process. Obviously.
I think the fire service would take care of you to a certain extent.
I never want to like put all my eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I get that.
Because like things can happen, things can go wrong. Like I've lived through it. Like you think that like someone's gonna take care of you and something's gonna but it just to no one's fault. Like it doesn't work out that way. So you're just like, okay, move on. Like I want to make sure that no matter what, I can take care of what's our family and what's happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever really discussed like if something were to happen. Like an injury is one thing, right? Like we can figure that out, right?
Yeah.
And you know, with my pension and that, like, be taken care of to a certain extent, right? If it were to happen, and even a death to a certain extent. But like, Cook says find a new normal. Leidig says good girl. Like,
yeah.
We just never talked about these kinds of things, so push through.
I
would venture to think that the fire service in some way would take care of you. People you probably don't even know.
Probably, and I would appreciate everything from I mean, same thing happened with Katrina. Like, we didn't think so we were 2 blocks away from the levee that broke in the 7th Ward.
Yeah.
And we were right on the lake, 1-story house, 6 feet of water. And thankfully my dad and my family and we were at my dad's hotel when it happened. So we were in the downtown area, but like we lost everything. Like I only had a suitcase with my school uniform and books.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was going to go to school that week. Like we had nothing. So thankfully, like it worked out that my dad worked for Hyatt and they have their corporate office in Chicago, and my mom grew up in Waukegan. Like it just kind of worked out that we were able to move up here with family, but like you just have to be prepared for, like, even mentally just have some sort of plan. Like if you weren't able to work, I kind of have an idea of what would happen. Like I would go back, back to work, and we would probably figure out a way to sell the house. Like there's
Star Wars figurines. I'd make them in the garage.
Yes.
We're probably good with that, right?
Correct.
Etsy shop. It's all going to be fine.
You can get
as long as my hands aren't broken,
right?
we're good.
You get that 3D printer you've always talked about. But no, like you have to think, like, and I think every couple, even if you're not in the fire service, you need to think about the things that like could go wrong and like what would happen. Like, let's say something happens to me. Like, do you have a plan?
Cry a lot.
Right, but like you also have 2 little kids you got to think about. And like I know that our families would step up in a heartbeat, and like they're over here once a week, more than that sometimes.
Yeah.
So
this is where I'm saying, like, I have faith in the greater fire service, where I know not only would our families be there, but I know, like, my brothers, to a certain extent, in Lake Zurich would. I know my family that I had come from, up in the North Lake County, in the Antioch world, people would take, do something to take care of you. And then even people that I've connected with all over the country, like James Mueller, and I know you don't know who he is, but he just died. And
I've seen.
And I mean, the guy brought a ton of positivity. And to be honest, I didn't know much about him, and I'm pretty into, the good people out there. And he is being taken care of. His family is being taken care of.
I mean, it's just kind of the situation I would be in. The wife they had a 2-year-old.
I didn't know you knew anything about this.
I follow a few Firewives Instagrams and Facebook groups. After FDIC this year, you had told me that there was this Firewives Facebook group, and then I was scrolling on Instagram and got targeted for another Firewives podcast. So I started following them maybe like a week ago, and I've just kind of tried to integrate myself into something that was fire related. I mean, you're so passionate about it, and like I feel like I haven't really gotten to experience the fire service the way you would describe it. So I'm trying to integrate myself in a way.
Yeah, I mean that's one. I mean we're an hour in, and that's really the meat of a lot of what I wanted to talk about. Was I grew up in the fire service. I know what we're supposed to be. I know what we're supposed to represent, and I know it exists. You have not gotten to experience the same things that I have, and you're not connected.
No.
In the same way that my mother was, right? To when my dad was online, like, she had friends of firewives, and it was normal, and it was a thing, and there was always opportunities to see people and know that you had a support system in some way. I don't know if the fire service has that in the same way anymore, and I don't know. Maybe we're on an island, and I'm not saying my department's terrible or anything like that.
No.
But we don't have a connection in that way. I don't think it exists. And it's not the same as what I grew up with.
So there's a Facebook group that was started in October for Lake Zurich Fire Wives. It's so new though. Like there's really only like a couple posts in it. Like it's not like something that's ongoing. And it seems like if you were to like say like, hey, I need help, like I'm sure people would step up. But I I really don't know any of these women. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a chance to, like, really, like, connect with any of them, except for, like, the few times that you go to these little, like, family events.
Yeah.
But at that point, too, like, I'm watching both my kids, making sure they're not running out into the street or, like, trying to feed a baby. Like, it was it's just not, it's just not there yet, I think. I think they're trying to, but it's also, the Facebook page was started by a blue shirt wife.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even, like, an admin.
Yeah.
So I think that's hard, too. It's like, in my work, the admins created that atmosphere of, like, the family parties and the work parties and, like, the overall, like, sense of community almost. And, like, yes, it was a corporate office. It's not the same.
Sure.
But, like, the owners of the company put a family picnic on every year. We never got to go, but
There's like a balance between things. Like the fire service, like we as firefighters can do a lot to develop our cultures in those, and it doesn't necessarily have to come from an administration, but there is also something to be said that, like you're saying,
like,
to
if you're
have that.
I think that passion in the blue shirt level is very important, but I also think it needs to come from the admins, the lieutenants.
It needs to be supported
it
by
needs,
leadership.
Yes, it does.
Otherwise, it doesn't seem like it's a priority.
Correct. And if it's not a priority to them, it's hard to get the ground rolling with, like, if you were, like, let's say you were to, like, try and get something together. It's hard if you don't have support.
Yeah, if it's not culturally part of the organization, it's difficult. I mean, yes, you can, but what ends up happening is you have cliques. Really, that's what happens.
Right. And I do.
Shift will hang out together, or maybe just a couple guys from a shift will hang out together.
And I do feel like it's very cliquey right now because a lot of the people, like, a lot of the women have known each other. Did I lose myself again?
I don't know. It beeped again, and
I don't know what's going on with the freaking thing. Cook brought up, residency ranges, and maybe there is something to that.
Yeah.
When you're closer together, like, so my shift has kind of been, not that I've given up on having relationships at work. It's not like,
No.
and I'm definitely not saying that, and that they don't have a connection, but I realize, like, you don't necessarily have to be connected to only the people in your own organization. You can have
Right.
a fire family culture of just firefighters that are around you. So there's plenty of firefighters that live around us.
Yes, but also it was kind of funny because, like, when you have friends to this day, I think, but they have older kids, or they don't have kids at all.
Oh yeah, Keith's in here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
So it
group
was
all
like,
has older kids than
so
us.
we weren't at that stage of life, but then we weren't, like, but we're a little bit of advance of other people in our. I feel like there's only I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to find your group of people, and I do think that maybe just the way, like, we're distanced, and it's interesting. Interesting.
I guess it's just like anything. It just takes effort, right? Like,
Right.
the more time you spend with each other and make that.
Mm-hmm. It's happening. They're starting to do more things, but I think that it's hard.
Would you say it's difficult for you? So I come under some scrutiny for my passion and for the things I care about, and I make my share of mistakes. I'm not going to say that I'm, like, perfect or anything
Yes, you
like that. Would you say that it's more difficult for you to connect with people when you kind of hear the way that I can get treated sometimes?
Yes. When you come home and you tell me, like, a specific person is, like, talking bad about you, and, like, it's been ongoing, and, like, you've tried to work it out and nothing's happening, I get very defensive for you because you're my husband, and, like, you make mistakes, and I will call you out on it, and I will tell you to your face, like, hey, you need to apologize. But in other instances, I'm like, I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to be friends with your wife if that's how you treat my husband.
Do you think not only just the direct person, but do you think that almost turns you away just from being friends with firefighter wives or firefighters in general?
No,
No?
I don't want to ever lump like firefighters as a whole. Like
No.
if that specific fireman is talking bad about you, like no, I'm not gonna like try and make a relationship with the wife because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if like there's a fireman that you do get along with, your friends, I'm gonna make more of an effort to be friends with that wife because you're more likely to hang out with the person that you actually like.
Yeah.
It's like any, I think, couple relationship. Like if I work with somebody and I like them but I don't like their husband, I'm not going to go over to their house and have dinner with them.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, sometimes, yeah, okay, some social functions you'll put on a smile or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to do that for when you were working. There definitely were some husbands in the group that I was like, oh my God, I want nothing to do with these guys.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like you got to do the motions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's in every single instance in life, there are people you like and there are people you don't like, and there's people that you're just kind of like, okay, like you're cool, but I wouldn't hang out with you outside of this, and that's okay. I know that there's people that don't like me, and I'm okay with it. I'm not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, I think I think that's the difficult thing is, yeah, okay, I know that I'm not going to be best friends with every person on this planet, right?
No.
That doesn't happen.
But there should be a certain level of respect in the workplace.
Right. And then there's a certain level of brotherhood that should exist,
Right.
right, within the fire service, because that's what we're supposed to be. But I'm starting to learn that maybe I need to cast a wider net, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to have a support group from people from multiple organizations.
Yeah, and you need people to like sit you down and say, "Hey, Alex, you should have handled this differently."
Which I definitely get from
yes, you do, and you get from me too. Like
yeah,
it's a way of life. You make mistakes, you
Yeah.
apologize, and you try to move forward.
yeah, absolutely. Chief Lighting's wife said we had a shift family early in Tim's career. It changed dramatically once he got promoted. Unfortunately, as he's gotten higher up in rank, I've pulled back in order to not get burned by supposed friends.
Yeah.
So I do think, like she's saying, and it definitely exists. There's like every spouse is going to protect their spouse, right?
Correct.
And so, when incidents and when negativity and those things start to happen, right, and people are gonna side with who they should, it's hard. Like you have to try to distance yourself from some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Moving up in rank makes things very difficult, right? And
I would imagine so.
I can't. I mean, I'm sure everybody loses some relationships along the way with that. I don't think there's a way to combat that. Like it's going to happen,
Well,
right?
yeah. Well, if you become a lieutenant, like you're gonna have to change the way you speak and you talk with your fellow blue shirts that you left as a blue shirt because you are in charge of them now. It's kind of like when you become a manager at your workplace. Like you have to kind of have a little bit more of like a reserved mentality.
That's the hardest thing though, because like in our industry, you're living and working together, right? So like
Right.
there is still like it's not necessarily like manager subordinate. You're
No.
all doing the work together, but there is obviously there's a power dynamic there, right?
Yeah.
Where you have to
distance
be accountable
yourself
to that.
But and like I think some people are better at it than others. And I remember when my friend at work got promoted to being a manager. She wasn't my manager, but she was a manager, and she would be in conversations about like performance and bonuses and all this stuff, and she couldn't tell us. So we, as like her friends who were lower than her technically, we had to respect that.
Yeah.
So it comes from both sides. You have to respect your officer, even though they're your friend, Yeah. And the officer needs to respect their subordinate.
Yeah, we call it buddy to boss, that transition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think one of the goals that I've been trying to work on, and my lieutenant Booth, he's always been a firm believer that who you want to end up being is who you should be the whole way. And obviously, you're going to grow over time and change, but you should have that end goal in mind. So if you want to be a lieutenant, you should think and act somewhat like a lieutenant as a blue shirt.
There should always be a level of professionalism in every single thing, every single job, no matter if you're like in fast food or in the fire service. Like, you have to have a level of professionalism and pride in your work. Like, you don't want to go into work and be an asshole.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I swore.
You get one.
Like, you don't want to go in and be a jerk to people, because then they won't respect you when you do become higher up.
Yeah.
You know? You'll always be labeled that jerk.
Yeah, I absolutely will. My dad's throwing in here, he hates always blaming new generation for everything, but hold on, I gotta pin it because it'll keep moving. But it is another example of the difference between today's fire service and the fire service of the past.
Yeah.
In the past, we played department softball, we had Halloween parties. You know, a lot of firefighters today just show up for 24, go home when they're 48, and come back for 24. You know, how do we fix this family thing? And he says it's not on the chiefs, it's really on the youngest on the job, which is a different take on that.
It is, but I think that the administration needs to be supportive of the youngest wanting to do those things.
Yeah, like you're saying like the young generation's got to initiate that and care about it, and then the administration's got to support it, right?
Yes. So like one of the firewives on Lake Zurich did a bowling night or whatever, and it wasn't backed by the department. So we we would have had to pay to go. You were on shift. We couldn't go anyway. But like, to me, it was like, if this is a department thing, maybe a little bit should be like funded or even supported, or maybe like not just send it in the wives chat, but like have like the fire, like tell the firemen.
So I will say though, that's a difficult thing.
It is
on the administrative side though, because technically we're funded by taxpayers.
Oh yeah.
So for a department to pay for a party with taxpayer money,
that
difficult.
Makes more sense.
Yeah, but like, I mean, there's
see, I'm coming from a corporate world where it's like we have a budget.
That's a line item, right?
We have a budget, and our line item is like parties and birthdays, and like those things and like, I cannot believe that like your coffee isn't included.
Well, we don't need to get into.
I know,
the
but
budget
like,
of where I
but
work.
Like to me, like I can't wrap my
bolted here.
I know I can't wrap my mind around it, because in my job, because I'm corporate, mind, like those things are just given, and like that's because they liked us, so they wanted us to be caffeinated. So yes, I understand where your dad's coming from. To me, it's different.
It is different. Well, and it's what's ironic is my job is all about family culture, like but it kind of can't be financially supported by a budget.
It's just, that's weird to me.
But again, because it comes from your taxes paying for our taxes paying for Lake Villa to have a party, I wouldn't care. But.
So like my dad's job, Hyatt, we would have a summer picnic every year. Like your dad said that they would do picnics. Who paid for it?
So the village of Highland Park did it, and it was it
was like a community thing.
It was Highland, everyone, Public Works, whoever, Joe Schmo that works for.
Well, Lake Zurich needs to kind of move it along.
They probably do need to step their game up and do those things, but in the chat here, they're talking about firefighters associations and unions can do that stuff, and it's true. Yeah, we actually, our union has the capability of doing that, and the guy that runs that committee, I mean, he's working hard, but it's difficult, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot bigger battles than like a picnic.
I don't know how other places do it, because there definitely are parts of the country that
they put
they
priority
use
over
a budget
it.
to do things.
Right.
I mean,
maybe that's just a discussion that needs to happen.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure
I think it would, if it was an annual thing and like every year this is what's happening, I think it would encourage more people to go.
Like there's budgets for awards and stuff like that, but it's not like
It's not like I'm going to go to somebody I don't know who's getting an award.
I think that's the biggest struggle between fire departments and like their municipalities is culture building, is an important part and maintaining of the fire service. Like there's traditional values of the fire service.
Yeah.
We are a certain way. We've earned the respect of the public because of the way that we are. And so those things are important to continue and to have a positive culture and keep those things going. But you can't measure profits on culture. You can't measure a return by spending money on this.
Correct.
So it's hard to sell that to a municipality, and I think it's a fight that most departments would have. What do you mean? These guys want a ceremonial bell? What the hell does that even mean? Like, why would we spend money on that?
Right.
And I mean, obviously, to my core, that like sucks, and like
yeah.
I fundamentally disagree with that. Like those things are important.
Why don't you do? You should do some research, and you should present it to whoever is in your department. That I don't know. To me, like if there's a problem and like there's something that you want to change, you should do the research and see why it's important.
Yeah.
To like present it to somebody who can maybe make the change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of complaining about it.
Yeah. For sure.
So like, yeah.
I mean, I know you're not in the same fire service Facebooks and all this other fun stuff that I'm into, but culture's the big thing right now.
I'm getting more into it now that
the fact that it's gone or that it's crippled is the big conversation.
Yes, it is. It
right
is,
now.
But I think that with social media, like it's kind of like I joined a Firewives group that I literally know nobody in.
Yeah.
But they have Firewife conferences.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting.
Isaacson does. He just did battalion, or what did he do? Company officer boot camp, and a huge portion of that is Firewife. Like you bring your wife or your
family
family with your spouse with, right? And they meet and they have their own thing, while firefighters are all out burning stuff.
I think it needs to be on both sides. Like the individual fireman family needs to step up and like try and integrate themselves into the department, and then there needs to be on the other side, like the established groups need to like be more welcoming into new people.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
It needs to be a give and take.
Bring them into the fold, right? Don't wait for someone to, hey, I'm interested. Like there should be almost like some informal ambassador type thing.
And I am the worst at like keeping up with like that, so I don't want to say that I'm perfect. I am not.
So would you say like, do you understand the value that can come from that?
Yeah, of course. Because I come from multiple years from my dad's like work. We went to his colleagues' kids' bar mitzvahs and that kind of thing, or like you have to know people, or you have to get to know people that you work with to a certain level. I'm sure once you reach administration, like you have to like kind of cut those ties, because
I don't know. I kind of reject that. I don't think you have to. There has
maybe
to
not cut ties, but like there has to be boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. There has to be boundaries of some sort. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I am not smart, so it's okay.
It's okay. You have a different perspective, and that's what firefighters are terrible usually at hearing other people's perspective for some reason. So.
Oh, I don't know why. Maybe because you're pig-headed? My 3 words.
Yeah. So then this jumps right into then how important do you think it is for spouses to be connected and to have, do you find that?
Oh, you like to be connected to each other, or to be connected?
Yeah, to be connected to each other.
Oh, you have to have a strong foundation.
We're talking spouses to spouses.
Oh, yeah, I think it's important. I think that it has to be the right people. And I have a hard time trusting people with just based off of experiences I've had as a kid, being the new person and having like my heart broken by friends who like were just interested in the new girl and not really interested in me, like kind of thing. So when I go into new situations, I am guarded. I'm guarded with new people. And once I feel like you've kind of hurt me or my family or to people that I care about, like I have a hard time letting you back into the fold. So when it comes to the fire for your department specifically, I haven't been introduced enough. Like I haven't been to anybody else's house besides that one Christmas party. Like I felt like that was the first time that I really got to know some of your people. And what stinks is that they're your captain and your lieutenant. Like those are the people that I've.
That's a personal struggle of mine, is that I connect more.
Like I'm connected with them more than any of the blue shirts that you work with.
More so, I think, most times than with my fellow blue shirts.
Right.
And there are times where I am standoffish, and I'm kind of there are times where, I can be very you like me or you don't, right?
Right.
And I've accepted those, but
it's
and I think I connect. Sorry, I think I connect more with people, in administrative levels, leadership levels, because that's where I aspire to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm thinking about that, and I've matured in many ways, not always, but to that path. And so connecting with people that are on that path is easier for me than people.
So, I mean, maybe that's it too. Like, if you're not connected to your department, how am I supposed to be connected to your department? Like, I have to have my connection through you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I can try to make my friends on like outside of you, but that doesn't, to me, that it doesn't work. Like, I need to go.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Yeah.
The conduit's me. This thing. So I guess then that's an effort that I need to make more. So maybe it's, hey, have some people over for some brats and beer or whatever.
I mean, think about it. When I was working, would you ever reach out to any of my friends' husbands that you hadn't really gotten to know very well?
Yeah. Yeah, why would? And it's odd, right?
Right.
And so, but again, like, it's an odd cultural fire service thing. It's almost like the spouses are like this self-governing body that exists, right, to support each other.
Right.
And it is kind of like you're developing that.
Yeah, I have to develop my own relationships, but I think I need to have you help me develop those relationships.
No, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. I get it.
Get on that.
I know, right? Add it to the list. It's totally true, though. Trying to implement more of those things, and like I told you, trying to just find people. There's plenty of people around us that I instantly would make friends with, who you would probably get along with their wives, right? And maybe that's a thread to tug on too.
Right.
That helps. I think we all need an outlet of people that are either in the similar situation or like-minded, right, to help us cope with things, to help us grow.
Yeah.
And really just be there for each other.
And like I have my friends from college and from my old job that like I keep in touch with. Like yes, it's probably just Snapchat for like 95% of the conversation, but like I truly think that that's how we keep our friendships going. And like we have to, like, I have my core group of friends that I know that if I needed help that I could call them at any moment. We need to build those relationships at work.
Yeah.
At your work.
So, and we're trying. We're in a weird shift at work, right, where there's a lot of older guys that are retiring, whose kids are in college or gone, and like
I think
that family environment doesn't exist, and those guys are almost a clique of their own.
Yeah, well, but like they're in a different phase of life. Like you're passionate and you're excited, and these guys are like, I'm just ready to go home and then spend time with my family and just relax after 35, 40 years in the service, like in the fire service.
Yeah.
Like I understand that.
Yeah.
They don't want to like other days off, they're like, I just want to sleep.
Well, they do that on shift too. But that's,
I'm just saying, like, the different phases of life, like, it really does make a difference too.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I will say though too, there are some of those older guys that are very still connected to.
oh yeah,
their
of course.
families and-
But there's always going to be that outlier that, like, isn't with the group. Sorry, I'm marketing. Like, you got to market your
I know,
podcast.
I'm terrible at marketing. My dad here, he's saying, so both sides of the coin, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was admin and a blue shirt. He believes that it really started with blue shirts with young kids to have social gatherings, right?
Yeah.
Starting department teams, parties. It's also harder for administration to be supportive when the activities involve alcohol, which most firefighter activities do.
Yes.
There's some beer and that kind of stuff. In the past, though, there were some strong fire spouses who were a big part of the planning because they wanted to get together with other spouses, right? If the
Right.
firefighter is not connected with their department, then the spouse doesn't have a chance,
Right.
which is true.
It's.
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we were saying. Like, if you're not connected, how am I going to get connected? And yes, it has to come from all sides. It has to come from, like, maybe the admins need to get, like, have a group too together to be supportive of each other.
I'm sure they do, and I can't. I mean,
Yeah, you don't know. But, like, the blue shirts and I think with you it's hard because it was, you were, like, I don't feel like there's a lot of, like, young blue shirts that you worked with. And, like, I feel like it's now starting to kind of, like, pick up, like, new guys are coming in and
yeah.
and all that stuff.
Chief Lighting says his wife was saying, you got to stick boundaries, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was saying, the perspective is different when you're deputy chief or chief. It's got to be worse being known as chief's wife, which chief's wife is probably an odd position to be in because everybody's coming up and shaking your hand and trying to be on their best behavior all the time.
Yeah. And in reality,
Yeah,
it's like,
you're-
I just want you to be authentic with me.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I don't, but I can sympathize.
Yeah, Ranky saying, it's important for the guys, or to know the guys and their families,
Mm-hmm.
which Cap, one of the things profound from Norman before he retired, he just retired last week. I was talking to him a couple months before he was set to retire, and he said he doesn't understand how a guy can work with you for 30 years and not know your kids' names.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to do that at work. He said, no, Francine, Caden, like Griffin. Like, he was naming his kids, and at work now, I don't say my boy. Maybe sometimes I'll say my boys, but, like, I won't say my kid or my wife. You are Emily.
Yeah.
He
I
is
have a
Jack,
name.
and he is Duncan. Like, I do not. I only refer to them by their names. And
Right.
That was a thing that I picked up from Steve and before he retired, and it was so insightful, and it's important. So even if you guys aren't there as much,
Mm-hmm.
like, I know one of the other guys in my age group, and Krause, he's got 2 kids, and he knows Jack and Duncan's names.
Good.
And I don't know if Krause has actually even met my kids, but, like, he's always asking, hey, how's
Yeah.
Jack, how's Duncan, that kind of stuff. So,
It's important. Like, we have names. Like, we're not just
Yeah.
the wife or the ball and chain or whatever
Right.
you want to call us.
There was another senior guy that retired a while ago, and when I first had kids, I was when Jack was first born, I came into work and I was like, "Yeah, I'm tired. I'm trying to share the load." And he's like, "Man, I don't think I changed a single diaper when my kids were born." And in my head, I was like, "Man, f you! Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of a dick move. Like,
Different.
sure,
Generation.
bragging about that, but, like, that's almost like you don't really care." I shouldn't say he doesn't care about his family because it's not that, but
No.
but it becomes like I come to work to get away from my family, or the old ball and chain, or whatever. And, like,
Yeah.
we all.
You all need a break from us, and we need a break from you. I get it.
Every firefighter vents about their spouse at some point at work. Don't give me that look. Everyone does. I'm sure you've vented about me to other people too. It's healthy. We all do it.
We all do it.
We all do it.
I know.
But yeah, there has to be a respect there.
Well, you have to have respect for your fellow guys, and you have to have respect for your family. Like, just have to be a decent human being. Like, I don't understand how that's that hard.
I need to get a video of you going like this. Lightning's wife said, "Oh hell yeah, we do." Talking about venting about their spouse. Yeah, listen. Firefighters do a whole lot of really, really stupid things.
Men do a lot of stupid things.
Yeah, I get it. You got to vent about us. I hope you vent about me to somebody, because
yes,
and whoever that is, God help them, because.
It's my mom.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm a complicated man at times.
She loves you, but sometimes she's like, what?
You know, again, the toilet seats. And apparently wearing blue and green at the same time is another one, but we won't get into that. What would you say then would be the biggest challenge of connecting then with other spouses? Just kind of like what you're saying before, is it's got to kind of come through?
I mean, I need to be more open, for sure. I feel like I'm not present enough in the what's going on at work with you. Like, I'm not physically there. I'm like, I just feel like I'm not connected, and maybe that's just what's going on in our lives right now with 2 young kids. But I mean, I feel like it comes from the individual, and it also comes from the other people that you're trying to connect with. Like, if you don't have a connection, that's okay. But, like, you have to have some mutual respect.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of reclused a little bit when we had kids.
We did.
But I think everybody does that. Or maybe they don't. I don't know. But we kind of, I mean...
I am a homebody.
Yeah.
Like, for sure. I like to be at home. Like,
you like to know 4 days out if something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or if
like, I like
to
be...
something, or someone's going to come over.
Yeah.
I get it. I know.
I'm a planner, and I like things a certain way when people come over, and I reclused a lot when I had kids, but that's me. Like, I know my friend, I feel like she's out every single day with her kids at like by 8 a.m. and I'm like just getting my first cup of coffee. Like, it's just a different lifestyle. Like, I'm different, and I probably need to be a little bit more open to doing things without you, maybe with the fire service. I just haven't.
Yeah.
But I also used to work 5 days a week, really it was like 7 to 5. Yeah. So we don't need to get into that, though.
That is a rabbit hole and a half for sure. Lighting's wife says one of the happiest and saddest days was when Tim got deputy chief position. So happy for him, but that meant he'd be home every night. No more 24/48.
Oh, no more bed to yourself?
Yeah, I mean...
I do.
Hopefully, if I get to that point with my career goals, we'll have that figured out or something. So there was a joke, I can't remember who said it, but it was like, when that happens and you go to days, you should just like have a bed in a separate room, and like every third day go sleep in a separate bed.
Did you know that like back in the olden days before the Great Depression, that husbands and wives had their own rooms, and only because of the Great Depression and like people had no money that they had to share a bed?
Yeah.
That was the only reason that spouses started sharing beds. I think we need to go back.
I mean, listen.
I need my own room.
When you were pregnant with Duncan and we both had our own blanket.
Oh, that was a game changer.
And it felt bad, like we were not a couple.
Oh, yes, we did. I'm fine.
Listen, I don't know what it was. Societal pressure made us go back to one blanket, and it's fine.
Yes, it's fine.
But we're like...
Maybe this summer we'll just have separate blankets, because it's...
The temperature regulation. We can't seem to figure that out. We need to get rid of that big blanket, because it's scorching hot in there.
We need the quilt again. Yes, move along.
Whatever, I know. Right. On this episode of Outlier Firefighters, quilts versus duvet covers. I mean, that's kind of at the tail end of the things that I had written down. We still have a decent amount of people here. If you guys have questions for us, because
we could talk forever.
We're having some fun here, so throw some stuff our way. Make it hard. We're okay with some tough questions, so throw them our way. There's a delay, so we'll kind of pin some stuff and get to that. Did you have any burning questions about this stuff that you've wanted to ask me that maybe you never have?
Besides leaving your family, what is the hardest thing about being a fireman?
Besides leaving your family, because that's.
I'm hoping that's number one, but you know.
This is gonna make me sound like an a-hole.
Well, that's an everyday occurrence, so.
Thanks. It's, for me personally, it's this drive to make sure that when we show up at somebody's house that's on fire and we got to go in and put it out and get their loved one out, that every single person that shows up has their crap together and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
That there's no weird, like, what do we do? No weird decisions that need to be made, that kind of stuff. Everybody just works and goes to work and is super good at their job. And the most difficult thing for me is to not always feel like the compliment of people are necessarily up to that. And I know that's a super negative thing to have in my head, and I struggle with that, which is why I'm very into training, because I'm passionate about making sure that every single person on scene is dialed in and is good.
Yeah.
So when someone's having a really crappy day, we're there and we're kicking ass and we're getting the job done.
So you know what's really interesting, and it comes from my grandpa Bob. He used to say, when you have someone come into your house, do not point out the flaws in your home. So when you show up to a place, don't point out your flaws in front of other people. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what you know. They don't know what's going on in your workspace. All they see is that you guys are doing something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just think that that's how you work. So if you don't point out your flaws to the people that you're trying to save, then they won't know. As long as you do the best that you guys can do, and, like, yes, people are going to have a bad day, though.
I wouldn't want someone to die or for things to go poorly because we weren't at the top of our game.
That's hard.
And so
that's hard.
That's probably a better way for me to phrase that,
right?
Without sounding like some arrogant punk. Because, like,
No.
I'm not perfect. I'm not
No.
saying that I'm the best fireman on this planet, because I'm not. Like, I'm constantly learning
Right.
and trying to be better. But there are people that are way better than I am at the job. But, like, that's my biggest challenge. That
you want to be perfect
outside of, again, leaving my family, because obviously, like, that's
Yeah.
very difficult to do that on a regular basis. But it's to know that we left everything out on the table. That there
Right.
was no, well, we probably should have trained on ladders a little bit more, or we probably should have done that, like that.
But there's always going to be something that you need to do better.
Sure.
And as long as you try your hardest, I don't ever want you to beat yourself up, because and I know you're going to, but, like, you have to know that, like, if you try your hardest, like, you left everything that you had on the table, like, it's okay.
But what I'm saying is if I'm on the nozzle,
Yeah.
and my crew's kicking ass, and another crew is the search crew, and they're not, like, I feel an obligation to help, to have already taught people and gotten people to a point where that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's my struggle is at any moment, right, we could have to go to do that stuff, and
Well, that's why you're on the training
my
committee.
passion's to get people to that
Right.
point.
So that's why you're on the training committee, and you're training those people to do the best that they can do. And and
So
that's
it's difficult, right?
it
to
is
feel
difficult, yeah.
like burdened, I guess, somewhat by that, right? We want to make sure that every single person on scene is lights out, that
Yeah.
we're all as best as we can be.
All you can do is try and do the best that you can do, and help those people who need the extra help.
Yeah. Chief Leidig says, Emily has great planning, but what are her thoughts about telling the boys, where is Daddy, or why isn't Daddy here? Stacy has she has that down to a science. Have you thought about anything like that?
I have always said, like, if I wake up when I wake up and I get the boys and it's me, I say, and sometimes Jack goes to look for you and I say, oh, Daddy's at work today. And he's just like, okay. Then I just say, Daddy's at the Jack's gone to the firehouse. Dad's at the firehouse today. And I don't think that they understand that it's a dangerous job. Obviously, they're 2.5 and 7 months. So, excuse me. Once that gets to the point where it's like, well, is Daddy okay? There's a fire and that kind of thing. I have no idea. But I always think that being honest with your kids is important, but you don't have to give them all the information.
That's fair. So,
like, Daddy's at work today. Is he on the fire? I don't know. But I will text him to see if he is. Or I will, when he calls us, we'll ask him when he calls us or something. Maybe I haven't thought about it, to be honest.
Honest without details.
Honest without details. Yeah. I think that's honestly with any question your child asks you. If they ask you those tough questions, like, you got to be honest. But I never want to lie to my kids. Like, that's kind of my, like, I don't want to lie to them about things that are important, and I don't want to shelter them from things that are hard because I don't always think that it's the right thing to do, but I also don't want to give them too much information to where they are constantly worrying.
Yeah. So, and Chief Leidig's bringing up 9/11, right? And his son, and having to explain some of those things to, and go through that. And I almost am in the same boat. I was 11 when 9/11 happened, and I hadn't thought about my dad being a firefighter and the danger. It had pretty much never come up. I don't know if that was by design. I don't know if that was what my parents chose to do, right?
But then at 11, now you have all these questions.
Yeah, and like all of a sudden I saw what firefighters do.
Yeah.
And like, in one hand, that was inspiring, and it really drove me towards a career. But on the other hand, like, it kind of put in perspective, like, oh, wait, that's what my dad does.
Yeah, it's not.
Could my dad die? You know what? And I can't remember when my dad got promoted. I don't think he was a chief at that point. He might have been. I don't know. Either way, but yeah, it was just not a thing that we talked about.
So what's interesting is that my uncle and my aunt, they lived in New York on 9/11. I remember my aunt was in Vegas and my uncle was in New York, and he was supposed to go to work, and nobody could get a hold of him for like a solid 12, 15 hours. And I remember my mom having to sit me down, because I was 9, 10 at the time, to sit me down and like kind of explain what was happening, because like you saw it on the news. And I think that was my first like real concept of like a disaster, basically. Like it was like
that. That's it.
Yeah, these people are dead, and it was, yeah.
I mean, I think 9/11 rocked
everybody
to their core. Mm-hmm. Some of us, it was the firemen, right?
I could
FDNY
not
doing their thing.
I could not imagine being in a fire family at that point. Like, I don't know how I would deal with it.
So, you brought up every 9/11. I pretty much just sit around and watch 9/11 stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of why. It's kind of like a reminder of those things. It's I almost can't even explain why I do it. I just do it. Like, there's that great there's a great documentary where these two brothers were filming what it was like to be a rookie firefighter, and it's some of the most like raw footage of what happened, and it's just perspective. That's why I joined the Honor Guard. It's the same thing. It's perspective, right? Yeah. Like, it keeps you focused on...
Keeps you grounded.
Keeps you grounded, absolutely. And so, post 9/11 and the fire service was something else. And again, it opened my eyes to what it actually was, and, the potentials of danger. And again, when I was younger, the fire station was a place where we'd hang out, and, one of the guys my dad worked with was a falconer, and so we'd go in and he'd fly falcons around.
So yeah, it was like more of like a play.
I learned to rollerblade on a fire station bay floor. Like,
right.
Those were things that that the fire station was for me. It wasn't a scary place. It wasn't my dad's going here and he could die, in a fire and there's danger. It was, the fire station didn't create fear in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say that 9/11 changed that, but it changed my perspective, and it made me really rationalize like what the job really could be.
Yeah.
Because you would have no idea. I mean, firefighters have been dying for a long time. It's not that they haven't, but on that stage,
You realize
if you
how
will,
dangerous it can be.
and the fearlessness,
Brave.
we're going to work,
Yeah.
and from what you would gather from researching 9/11, there wasn't a doubt in their mind that they were going to succeed. Like, that's what they did. That's what we do. Like,
Yeah.
and it was incredible to sit and now I reflect and I looked at it differently. Still, COVID messed up my chance, but I was going to go to New York, and when Craig was living there, and finally go see all that stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually, I will. But yeah.
So what's really weird is I actually went and visited like maybe like
Ground Zero.
6 months after it happened, and it was just like I visited New York, and my parents kept us away. We were young. I was young at the time, and it was even then it was
We were in
somber.
DC August. The
Yeah.
last thing I remember about coming home from DC was the Pentagon, which
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't think we'd be talking about 9/11, but I mean it's.
But it changed. Everything changed after that. The whole world changed.
Stacy Leidig says they made a lot of late night trips to the station so Tony would know that he was okay, and like that's it's crazy, right? Like,
I'm very lucky now that like we have the phone calls and the FaceTimes
Yeah,
and the text messages. You know what I mean?
we used to call my dad on the station phone.
Yeah.
Like, that was normal life. And I would imagine probably on his end it was, hey, I'm going to call my wife, or well, they probably have multiple lines, but like,
Yeah.
it was a thing. Hey, can I talk to my dad? That
I
kind
used
of
to do
stuff.
that with my dad. I used
Yeah.
to call his secretary and be like, is he in the office?
Yeah.
Like the world has changed in advances in technology, good or bad. Like
Yeah.
I'm grateful for FaceTime, for sure.
Yeah, we're afforded a benefit that generations prior did not have, where
Yeah.
we do get to see our family in some capacity every day if we wanted to.
Yeah, we FaceTimed last night at like 5 before the kids went to bed.
Yeah. Trevor says FaceTiming Allie and Walker at night is my favorite, and I'm with you. Like, I don't always get the opportunity just because of bedtimes and whatever
Yeah.
calls and that kind of stuff, but it is
When
like,
they get older though, like I can be like, oh, I just texted your dad. Like he's fine. He's on a call right now. Like he's at the hospital, or you know what I mean? Like I can kind of give him a play-by-play of where you're at.
And I'm hoping too, as they get older, that like if I've got to go to the station to do something, just bring them with. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's important. Like, just make your family just part of it. Like, it's not about separation.
Right.
Hey, I got to go to the station and work on X, Y, and Z. Come on, bring your homework. We're gonna go. Like,
Sure.
stuff like that. I think if that's normal,
Yeah.
if you make that normal.
I didn't know that was a thing. Take Jack every time you go.
Well, now I can't because I got to entertain him.
Right. He's too little, but
But there probably are things where I could. I mean, it is what it is. Nicole, and I'm going to butcher, I believe, one of your names here, so we'll just say Adams because I can actually pronounce that. But she says, it's hard as a wife when I know my husband has a bad call with bad outcomes, then he has to come home and flip a switch and be a dad and a husband. Like,
it
yeah.
is. It's so hard, but as long as if I want always be supportive of you. And if you have a bad day, just like when I have a bad day, if you say, "Hey, Emily, I need like an hour to just be by myself." I will take the kids and go somewhere. Or
Yeah.
I will say, "Hey, you go hit some golf balls or go do something."
Fishing group.
Yeah, go take a long shower. I don't know. Like I'm just saying, like go do what you need to do. And you do that for me too. Like if I have a bad day or I need an hour to just not have someone, a little child, touch me, like you support me in that.
Yeah, right. Everybody needs their decompression
Yes.
at some point,
Yep.
right?
And it's okay. It's okay to need that time for yourself, because that makes you a better parent and a better spouse. Like when you're present. And if you're not in the headspace because of a bad call, like I'd rather give you that time so you are present in our lives.
Yeah, because the only way to get through that is to, like, you can't just keep pushing it off. Then
No.
And
like if you don't want to talk about it to me, I understand, but I do ask you, like,
oh yeah.
So if you had a bad call and you're like, I don't want to talk about it right now, I'm like, okay. And then maybe an hour or two later, hey, you okay? You want to talk about it now?
Yeah,
Sure.
we have a relationship where you and I poke and we joke with each other, and that's how we are. But I always know that, like, at
any
a
point,
second, if I say,
yeah, we need to have a conversation.
or hey, I'm
not today.
not today, like, or I need some space or something like that.
Yeah.
I've been pretty fortunate, but I mean,
There have been a few calls though that have really messed you up, and it always happens when we go like to a family event or something. And I will even tell, like, if it's my parents, I'll even text them for, hey, Alex had a really bad call. He might be a little quiet today, and they understand. And your parents, of course, understand. They're in the fire service. Like your dad's chief. Like your mom has been through it 100 times, I'm sure.
Yeah, and everyone, I think that's when interesting too is everyone's starting to notice those things better, right? Like, everyone, my mom, my dad, my brothers, your parents, everybody is starting to notice if I need a little bit of space or if I need some decompression, which I mean is invaluable, right? And like,
you need to have support from the people around you, and I think that's important for everyone, not just firemen. But obviously, we're on a fireman podcast, so like you have to be supportive of the people around you.
Yeah.
And like, if people are having a bad day, a bad week, a month, or even a year, you have to be supportive. Friends reference, please.
Was that something? Oh, I didn't get that at all.
Friends?
Oh yeah, the song.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have been right on that. I wasn't. But I mean, yeah, you're totally right. Support structures are huge. Everybody, safe spaces and all these other hot words that they've come up with for. I don't think that there's no value in those kinds of things to me. Like, like support of people, having a group of people that are there for you is the most important thing, I think, in anyone's life, not just firefighters.
Life is tough, and you have to deal with things that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
But you have to deal with them. And I think that's what's going on with the new generation that's coming, especially in the workforce, is that if they don't like something, they just leave. Yeah. And sometimes it's like, okay, if it's toxic and you need to leave, I get it, but sometimes you just have to kind of put up with it a little bit and like.
Yeah.
But then you also need to realize, like, I need people outside of it to talk to, or even people inside and talk to about it.
Absolutely.
Like you got to deal with it, but you also have to have people to talk to about it. And if it truly is a place that like is not jiving and you need to get out, like you got to get out.
Life's a team sport.
Yeah.
Like it really is, and that doesn't necessarily mean you got to be married or whatever. I'm not saying that. But you got to have some team. You got to have somebody.
Yeah.
You got to have people that are around you.
And if you don't have people around you, like, you have to get help. Like, there are so many different places that you can, like, talk to people and even just have a conversation with like, I've been to psychologists for things in my life because of traumatic experiences. You have to have places to talk to people, and if sometimes it's family and sometimes it's people you don't know.
Firefighters, I will always bring up every time we talk about mental health, and that's next rung. And next rung is what Emily's talking about for firefighters. You call them up, and it is firefighter to firefighter peer support, and it can be anything. It doesn't have to be, suicide, on one one end of the spectrum. It can even just be stress. That organization is pretty cool that they have that. So again, next rung is It's a great place to start. We do have a question away from mental health,
Good.
segueing into an interesting question, and we don't really talk about this very much. So, how would you feel? This comes from Cook. How would you feel if your boys wanted to be firefighters? So your answer and then mine.
I would be supportive in whatever they want to do as long as they don't hurt anybody. And I will love them no matter what, but I would prefer that they weren't in any profession that could get them hurt. And that's just, I mean, I have so much respect for our servicemen and everything, but I would not want my boys to join the Army. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, it's like a maternal instinct to
yeah,
protect your kid.
I don't ever want anything bad to happen to them.
Yeah.
But if they want to, I will support them no matter what, because it's their life, not mine.
Neither of them are eating crayons, so they're not going to be on a ladder truck somewhere. But they might be, engine connoisseur boys.
Listen.
Maybe. I don't know. Jack likes to break things. So, we'll see. So, where I stand with this, I'd be proud beyond all belief. Right?
I would be
I'm
proud.
a multi-generation fireman.
I would be proud with whatever they decided to do. If they wanted to be firemen, yes. In
the same way that my dad did it for me and my mom did it for me,
I would
not push them in a direction.
No.
That being said, I would want firefighter culture to be a part of their life, right?
Yes.
Because I think that there's value in honor, integrity, the core values of what firefighters are supposed to be. And I think that is a positive influence on their lives. Whether or not they become firefighters is irrelevant to me. I think that those things are important. And if they happen to connect with it,
yeah,
I'm going to do exactly what my dad did for me, support them, not tell them what to do,
no,
point them in the right direction, and let them run.
Like, if they came to me one day and said, "Hey, Mom, I want to be a fireman," I'd be like, okay. I would never tell them, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't. You could get hurt." I would never put that in their brain. Like, if they want to be it, yes. But in my heart, I want them to be 2 in 7 months forever.
I know, right? We haven't even really gotten a "but ma'am" yet.
I've gotten the eye roll from Jack a couple times.
I know.
That kid is sassy.
He's got we're both kind of.
He's got my sass.
He's got your sass. Not that your sass is anything wrong, but he's got your sass.
He's got my sass.
He definitely does. Well, I'll stall if anybody's got something else. Jack's going to be a truckie. That's funny. I'm telling you. I mean, he could. But again, he's not eating any crayons, and his knuckles don't drag on the ground, so maybe he's not. I don't know.
That kid is smart.
But no hazmat team. I'm out.
No, that kid is smart, and Duncan is smart too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see it already, like his little brain working, and
yeah, they're both fun.
We love our children.
Yeah, if you haven't picked up on that, we obviously love our children immeasurably. But I'm out of questions, and as fun as this is,
I need to go to bed. We got stuff to do in the morning.
I don't know if you heard, but our kids wake up at 6:30. So, so unless anybody else has got anything that they want to ask, we appreciate you listening and being part of the conversation. It was cool to have a lot of interaction. And here we go.
Oh,
last one. How does Emily handle the extra time at work, the training, all the other extracurricular things that I'm doing? How do you handle that?
So when I was working, we had a great support system. Like, your mom would be there at regular shift days, and then my mom was always available and she would drop anything to do like the trainings or like overtime. And if neither of them could watch our children, then I would take off work, which was hard. But now that I'm by myself, well, not by myself, they're still around, but like now that I'm home, it's it's honestly easier for you to pick up those things because you just say, hey, Emily, like, can I do this today? She'd say, sure. And then I'll call my mom, or I'll call your mom or text and be like, hey, you want to like stop over for like an hour? And then they'll come over because they want to see their grandkids.
The force packs used to be brutal.
Oh, those
brutal
were
they were.
So
now
hard.
It's kind of like, whatever. But
I will say that now that I don't work, it's a lot easier. But like when I was working, you were working, like
it sucked.
It sucked.
Making those phone calls, and then I had to like pre-make the phone calls because I assumed I would get forced.
Yes, but okay, so like this is the thing. Like it's okay to fall back on a movie. Like we had a movie day today because mommy was just not like 48's or the second day of a 48 movie day. Like I just made popcorn, we had made forts, we colored, we did Play-Doh. Like we just had those days where we just kind of like hung around the house and didn't get out of our pajamas.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay to have those days. Like I know the pediatrician says you can't have more than like an hour of screen time a day or whatever. And it's just like, well, you know what? For me to be a good parent and to like not freak out on my children because I'm stressed or they're crying and they want this and they want that, I just movie or we're play downstairs. Like we created play spaces, so like downstairs, upstairs, bedrooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay to fall back on some of those things.
Do they feel loved? Really, that's it.
Really, like my biggest thing for my children is I want them to be happy. I want them to be kind and healthy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if they are those three things, then I'm happy.
Nicole, it is difficult, right?
Yeah.
With working and relying on in-laws for sure.
It's so hard. It's such a juggle and a balance. And then sometimes, like as a mom, I felt like I wasn't a mom. Like for the first 2 years of Jack's life, I felt like I wasn't his mom.
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't teaching him anything that he wasn't doing, and like he has a speech delay and all these things, and I feel guilty because I was at work and I wasn't home to like to do any. Like I felt like I never got the chance to do much with Jack.
Yeah.
The first 2 years of his life, and like we're making up for time now, but it was so hard, and I think that's just a struggle for any working parent. Like you just feel like you're like, I always felt like I was giving 50% at work and 50% at home. I was never giving 100% in either. And at one point when I was working, I just was like, you know what? I'm not happy. I'm not happy here. I'm not happy at home. And like, I'd rather be home with my kids. So that's what I chose to do.
Yeah.
But being a parent is hard. And if it was, if you think parenting is easy, then I don't think you're being a good parent. Like parenting is always going to be hard, no matter your situation.
Stacy says you would have felt that way regardless of where I worked, though.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly. I'm just saying, like, no matter if you're a working parent, you always want to be home.
Yeah.
But someone has to make money, so we can live.
And it might as well be me because I enjoy my job.
Exactly. And you have such a passion for the fire service, and I truly, like, I'm so proud of you and everything that you do. And I really do think that you're going to make it to whatever position you want to make it to. I think you're going to do it faster than you think.
Yeah. Well, you know I love you.
I tolerate you.
Thanks.
I love you too.
And everyone, thanks for listening. We had a blast. I'm assuming Emily did. She was nervous at first, but I'll tell everyone that comes on. We start rolling, and it's easy to just talk. So
yeah. Well, if you ever need a filler, I'll come back on.
Yeah, maybe we'll pull that out. If you were with us live, we appreciate it. If you listen to this later in the future on Spotify or wherever, appreciate it too. And you got any questions or follow up or thoughts? You can always send them my way on the Outliers page. Through the
Through
send me a
Facebook?
DM. Oh my God, my brain shut off there for a minute. Yeah, we appreciate support,
We're on Facebook and Instagram.
hanging out with us, and maybe one day Emily will teach me how to market. I've a marketer in the house, and I still don't know how. I'm still terrible at marketing. Like
I've tried to teach you.
maybe one day I'll be less awkward. Either way, thank you for listening. We appreciate everything. Have a nice night. And June, I've got a couple things lined up. I'll put them up on the schedule. One for sure right now, I got retired Chief Henry Gruba is coming on in the middle of the month. And I'm probably going to try to get my brother Nick Elkin on next week. Him and I have been friends for a very long time. He's a Berwyn fireman. We're kind of, I think he's in, but those of you that know Nick,
He's got a lot going on.
he's got a lot going on. I feel like I got to
I can always
send
come
him
on.
letters or something to get him to text back, but that's beside the point. Either way. Yeah, so stay tuned. We're going to be on a cruise, though, for some of it, so I'm going to go radio silence, but either way, appreciate everything. So have a nice night, Emily.
Bye. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, right to sleep.